Alright, let's get started. Everything we need for basic database work is in this camera section. Let's open it, and then go to the Catalux section. There are a lot of different system items here that we are not very interested in. We are interested in the tables that contain data from our components. Let's expand them. So one Catalux entry corresponds to one component. Let's open the Catalux entry for the components from our car fleet, based on previous video lessons. Select it, right-click, then click View, Edit Data, then click All Rows. A window opens where we see the SQL query and the data table. In the table, there are fields: ID, type definition ID, this is the Catalux entry number, created data, updated date, time when the record was created and updated, and data, which is our entire object model in JSON format. There are also several additional fields and separate columns that are duplicated. Data, car price, data, car full name, data, production year. All work, the database is based on viewing, editing, updating, or deleting records. To create an SQL query, you should click on Query Tool. But let's copy the query first, because when we click on Query Tools, a new page opens without any SQL query. Let's make a simple SQL query. For example, let's see how the fields are named. Try filtering by the E of production, data, production year, where data. Production year 2015. And click on the Execute button. Filter records. We are interested in lots. What else can we do with the data? We can edit the record. To do this, we need to access data JSON. It's important because if we access these columns directly, we will get an error and the safe won't go through. Let's change the E of production of the car from 2015 to 2014. Click on OK, then save data changes. We see that the data was saved successfully. Vary again and see that there are no records with the 2014 filter. Change data production year to 2014 and query again, so we see that the record has indeed appeared. Additionally, we can set the delete mark to true to delete the record. Double-click on the cell, then double-click the checkbox, and it shows true. Save the change. And now the record is marked as deleted. It is also important to find the data allocation number for working with it. You can't do this in the studio. You need to go to other schemas and find the user service. And then the application definition stable. Right-click and open it through View, Edit Data. Then all rows. Here, all the registry components in the studio are displayed. Here's our car's component. You can see its ID, which is the catalog entry number. You can search for components using an SQL query, because in real development, the number of components can be significant. Scrolling and visually searching for the needed component is inconvenient. So it's easier to click on Query Tool and write an SQL query using the key or title you need. The database is also useful if you accidentally deleted a component in the studio but still needed. You can restore it by going to the database and setting the delete marks to false in application definitions. So the component will return. If the component is not published but only saved, it won't appear in application definitions. You need to go to Application Definitions Drafts and select all rows. Here you see settings for properties and more. If the component is not published, you need to return it in Application Definition Drafts, not in Application Definitions.